everyone, Christina here. Welcome to day 10 of the holiday card series for 2017. Today I'm going to be using two different products from Newton's Nook. This is the Santa Paws Newton stamp set, and I love all those little kitties in there. And then I'm going to use this stencil, which is the holiday foliage stencil. And I'm going to do some kind of glitter paste with this stencil. In fact, I'm going to start out with that first. I put down a Tonic Easy Matte. And then I have some cashmere cardstock from W+9 and some rose gold glitter paste from Bo Bunny. Now this cashmere cardstock is one of my most favorite colors of cardstock, and I haven't used it in ages. So it was high time that I broke it out, and it happens to look absolutely beautiful with this rose gold glitter paste. I'm going to use a plastic craft knife or palette knife, and this is from Ranger. And I'm just going to spread that out onto the stencil, kind of like I'm spreading jam onto a piece of bread. I'm using the edge of the knife to push that glitter paste around and press it into all the different areas of the stencil. I think I had to dip into the jar a few times to make sure I had enough of this glitter paste, but for the most part, I just wanted a really thin coat of glitter paste. I didn't want it to be super thick or anything like that, so I did scrape off quite a bit so that it was as thin as possible without being patchy. So I scraped off quite a bit, and then I put the excess back into the jar and then put the lid on top and closed it very tight. You want to make sure it's on there really super tight so that it doesn't dry out. I then cleaned off my palette knife and lifted up that stencil. You can see how beautiful that is. Just that kind of little bit of a warmer color of cardstock, kind of like a really pale pink, goes extremely well with this particular glitter paste color. So I'm using a baby wipe just to clean up all the glitter paste left behind. Then I'm going to take my stencil to a sink and clean it off with a stiff nail brush. And I'll link the nail brush that I use for cleaning off my stencils down in the supply section below. And then took some Nino Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I'm using the Barely Beige ink color from Simon Says Stamp. This is an ink that works well with Copics, but it's also a really super pale color. So it's great if you wanted to no-line coloring. And because I am doing no-line coloring, sometimes the lines can get lost. I'm going to stamp a reference for me to look at while I'm coloring. I'm just going to stamp this in another black color. I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black for this, but it could be any darker ink color. And I'm going to zoom in and start coloring with Copics. I'm going to turn on some music and speed up the coloring process as well.
It was the night before Christmas. I was closing down for business in my little present shop, when the bell on the door jingled once more, and then time almost came to a stop. But somehow I knew, and maybe so did you, that everything would change from now on. Yes, from this Christmas on, this Christmas on. We forgot what you came for, and in the coffee shop just next door, we talked for hours on end, and somehow we knew that we'd found something true. from this Christmas on. From this Christmas on, it's gonna be you and me decorating a tree. From this Christmas on, from this Christmas on.
So that finishes up all the coloring, including adding some white details with a Jelly Roll pen and also a little bit of colored pencil just to darken up those line areas. Then I'm taking the Nested Circles die set from Simon Says Stamp and die cutting a circle around this little kitty. I also trimmed down that glitter piece a little bit so that I could mat it onto my card base, made out of some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. And I just scored that at 5.5 to create a top folding card. Then use some Tombow Extreme Adhesive to adhere my glitter piece down onto my card base. And there's just a little bit of a trim right around the outside edge. I trimmed down the glitter piece to be 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 tall. And that leaves just a little bit of that color of the base card base around the edges. I then trimmed down my circle piece so it could nestle into the corner of my card. And I put some foam adhesive on the back so that it could be popped up away from the surface of all that glitter. That's going to make sure that it adheres on there really well and doesn't come off later. So the last thing to do is to add my greeting, and I didn't want it to just be on plain white. I thought it would get lost with the white circle background behind the cat. So I took that kind of dusty teal color that I used to color one of the presents, and I put that all over some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock, the same white cardstock I used earlier. And I hit that with my heat tool just to help it dry a little bit because it takes a while. And then I also put a coating of some anti-static powder tool. Then I tested it with the embossing powder that I wanted to use. Turns out that it was ready to work with. And so I stamped my greeting in Versamark ink. The embossing powder I'm using today is Rose Gold embossing powder from Lawn Fawn, and I chose this color in particular just because I have so much warm kind of pink coppery shades going that I thought this rose gold would go really well with all the other colors. I'm going to use my heat tool to heat set this until it's smooth and melted, and then I used my scissors to trim this down to a really small banner shape. I put 2 layers of foam adhesive on the side so that it would be popped up even above the surface of that half circle. And then I used a white Jelly Roll pen to add some dashed lines on the edge so it looks like that tag was stitched on. And that's the card for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I love doing no-line coloring projects like this, but I haven't in a while, and I don't know why I haven't because it's so fun. Thanks so much for watching today. I will be back on Friday with day 11 of the Holiday Card Series. Thanks for watching.